So, new CEO for BC Housing, Vincent Tong. Permanent CEO, April 27, 2023. BC Housing announced Thursday the appointment of its new permanent CEO. Interesting. And before working at BC Housing, Tong acted as Chief Development Officer for Toronto Community Housing. And what is Tong going to do? Well, one of the things that it says Tong is going to do is creating more comprehensive standards of conduct policy and creating whistleblower protections. Now here's my thoughts on that. Okay. When I looked into this, right? When I looked into this, I started to learn now about whistleblowing in BC, right? And hear me out. These I got a couple theories on this. The BC government has expanded its whistleblower protection law to include more agencies, boards, commissions, and select crown corporations through the new Public Interest Disclosure Act, PIDA. The PIDA allows current and former employees to confidentially report serious or systemic issues of wrongdoing that affect the public interest to direct supervisors, designated officers within the organizations, or the office of the whatever that says. If an employee opts for the latter, whatever that means, they do not need to complete any internal process with their organization before contacting whatever office. Okay. So, hold on. Okay, so the 39 government organizations added to this list include BC Hydro, the Insurance Council of British Columbia, Infrastructure BC, Columbia Power Corporation, Community Living British Columbia, BC Transit, and BC Housing. Okay. So, here's the thing, right? If you've been through homelessness or you've been low income and you've had to rely on services from BC Housing or, shelters in BC or any system when it comes to poverty relief or low income housing or anything of that nature, you've probably experienced a lot of hostility and corruption, and you've probably witnessed that. Maybe if you're an ex-employee of a lot of these places, it's swimming with corruption and corrupt leaders and CEOs and board members and so on and so forth. It's so corrupt, like from the ground up. It's just it's saturated with corruption completely, especially the BC government. This is one of the most corrupt establishments I've ever witnessed. I've traveled across Canada, and I thought it was bad where I come from. It's bad for gang violence and gun violence, but out here it's bad for governmental corruption and corruption within nonprofits, charities, and organizations and things of that nature. It's extremely like nothing that I've ever seen. It's on a governmental level out here. So the fact that they have this portal, do you think it's legitimate? Do you think that this is a actual place or portal or avenue for whistleblowers that decide to turn on internal government infrastructures that are participating in corruption systematically? Because do we really think the BC government's our friend that's going to open up a portal for us to go and tell them about the corruption and the corrupt things that are going on inside of these organizations that have probably secured themselves in some type of pyramid scheme that the government is already participating in? Because we know the government's corrupt, so why would we trust the government? Why would we trust the government in this aspect in general? We wouldn't. So the way I see this now, from going through, a decade of experiencing corruption on every single level, from income assistance to homeless shelters to low-income housing entities, charities, nonprofits, organizations. I've experienced corruption on both sides of the fence, not only as somebody needing help from these services in these entities and needing to rely on them and experiencing nothing but abuse and systematic corruption and systematic oppression through these entities. But, I've also been employed to nonprofits, organizations, charities, and have worked amongst them and seen how they operate around homelessness, poverty, mental health, and addiction. And it's completely corrupt. And I've already made a bunch of videos about that, and I made a dedicated entire website to that, victoriabcprofits.ca. You can Google it. If the site's not up, it'll be up later. I'm working on it. Anyways, point being is that I think that this portal they opened up to lure in whistleblowers to reveal themselves to the government so the government could prosecute them, so the government could put them on some type of a hit list, so the government can alert the other layers and players in the game, hey, we got a rat, we got a snitch. They came to us, to the PIDA, and they made a statement against so and so in this sector, whatever, right? And this is the weak link, and we need to get rid of this person, or silence them, or put them on the targeted individual list and have them gang stalked and have their whole lives, picked apart and ruined. And the government can do a lot, to somebody that flips on them. So in my head, I wouldn't trust this. I would think that this is a luring tactic to lure in whistleblowers to identify them. And it says this is a safe way for you to come and be a whistleblower and, basically snitch on the government and sectors of the government. They just want to see who the snitches are and who the rats are, because I don't trust these guys, man. They're demons, they're devils, like they're evil, you know what I'm saying? So if you think they're being nice to you, saying, hey, come tell us what's going on, we're your friends, and then you go there, like, trust me, I've already seen how this behavior is actually like a cultural thing here in British Columbia. That whole very narcissistic, manipulative in nature, like, oh yeah, I'm your best friend, and hey, like, yeah, we're rooting for you, and really they're like trying to kill you, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really like that here in BC. It really is. It's like that in most places in the world, but this is on a governmental, professional level. Like, I'm saying? This is like, we know gangsters can be like that, pretend to be your friend and then kill you, like, rob you, whatever, right? But it's the political side of things, it's the governmental side of things, it's the law side of things, it's the charity, nonprofit, organizational side of things, where they're savage like that out here, and it's just become obvious. So when I look at this, it just makes me wonder. And it's interesting that there's a new CEO for BC Housing, and that was one of the things that he said that he's going to do. So either he is just another level up imposter infiltrator that is a higher up demon, which, he kind of looks like a demon. I'm not gonna lie. When I look at him, I can kind of see a demon in him. You know what I mean? I've been in the street for a long time. I have a good sense of, judgment of character. You know what I mean? I can kind of just look at people and sense them. I can hear the way they talk, how they carry themselves, based off of my lived experience. I can decode and pick apart people like that, and I can see through their narratives and agendas. But it takes a long time to be in the field, and so to speak, to obtain that type of knowledge or ability. But anyways, I'm not buying it. He don't look like a genuine person to me. I think he's a demon, and I think that he is going to infiltrate even further. There's going to be more corruption, and now the people that were snitching in these organizations or levels of government are now going to start getting picked off, or just disappear, or die suddenly, or whatever, after they come and report something. Right. So now this is the official British Columbia website. Knowing about public interest disclosure, the below information applies to the employees in government ministries, as outlined in HR Policy 24, whatever that is. Employees from other public sector organizations, including agencies, boards, and commissions, should direct PIDA inquiries to their specific organization. Reporting wrongdoing as a BC public service employee, speaking up when things aren't right, supports our public service values and the safety and well-being of citizens and colleagues. I highly doubt it, based off of the 10 years that I've lived in British Columbia, and I came from the hood, and this place is dirty, corrupt on every level, from the RCMP to the government to the nonprofits to the charities. So, knowing that, I look at this as entrapment. This is a trap for whistleblowers, and this is how you're gonna get hurt worse. Don't fall for this shit, man. Don't fucking fall for this shit. Don't go to this thing and put yourself on a fucking hit list, because that's what is gonna happen, okay? They just want to identify who the rats are, who the snitches are, who the weak links are, and who the infiltrators are to them. Because they're the ones that are initiating all this corruption and all this fraud, and they're giving the blueprint and infrastructure to the lower level, entities like BC Housing and, BC whatever, and, all these charities and nonprofits and stuff like that. They're actually leading the whole thing, the BC government. BC Housing is owned by the government, BC government, or a faction of the government, and there's different levels and different sectors of government, whatever, but man, do they ever make it obvious that, bro, like, you gotta know where you're at. You have to have experience, man. You gotta understand things. You gotta know things because you went through them, not because you read books and you think science can give you the truth of everything. No. Real knowledge comes from real life experience, not books, not science, none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But one of the best ways to learn is through experience, but it gives you the most broad perspective on everything and what's going on. As much as, the fraudulent people would try to, disagree with that, because they don't have the experience, so that pisses them off. But yeah, this is my take on this. I think this is interesting because to most people, this would indicate a great thing, right? Because here's a portal and an outlet directly to the government to inform them on fraud and corruption that's going on within government, and also other related sectors of government or government-owned entities that are operating through government or with government, whatever. demotion or termination of employment, unreasonable performance management. So under the allegations of are investigated by the, so this is who is, does the investigations, BC Ombuds person. Okay. I have to look that up now. I gotta see, what is this? How to report, reprise. I don't even know how to say that. See how complex, like, they make things so much more complicated than it needs to be to keep normal people from being able to comprehend what's actually going on. You know, it's just like trying to learn a different language. Like, you're just not going to do it. You're going to be like, whatever, I'm not even interested then. Like, you know what I mean? And then you're going to miss out on a whole lot of shit that you didn't know what was going on. And they did that on purpose, to deflect you, to detour you away from it. If you are a current former employee of the Ministry, Office of Legislature, or public sector organization covered under the PIDA, and you have experienced retaliation for seeking advice about making a report, reporting wrongdoing, or cooperating with an investigation, you can make a complaint. You know, so anyways, what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is legit? Do you think this would be a good idea to take this route, and this would be the place to bring all the evidence and all of the observations of all the nonprofits and charities and everything else in Victoria, BC that I've been exposing from the systematic governmental corruption that they're involved in, and non-governmental corruption? Or is this entrapment? Oh, look at that Victoria number. No way. Wow. I gotta figure this out, because I want to fucking prove that I bet you that this is just another trap for whistleblowers. You go ahead and you go and run your name. You go ahead and put yourself into this system, and you go ahead and, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. This is like, here, put yourself on a hit list. Like, it's in Victoria, bro. And this is like the most corrupt place in the whole fucking province. So how is it that all this corruption is going on in this fucking city, but there's this thing right here, and there's this place right there? I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. Seems like entrapment to me. It seems like a fucking setup, and you're gonna get hit up when you fucking go ahead and start trying to fucking snitch on government and these other things like BC housing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I already know when all the shit that I do, trust me, like, it's costed me. You know what I mean? Me exposing all this shit, me looking into this, and then, you know, thoroughly analyzing things and holding people accountable to what they're supposed to be held accountable for, to, including nonprofits, organizations, and charities. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of come to the conclusion that, you know, you think that you're making a report or you're helping yourself or something like that, and then you're just putting yourself more on their radar, you know, more on the hit list. And then they start doing things to really fuck with you, you know, on a governmental level. Like, all of a sudden you owe the government $30,000, but you never did owe them $30,000. They're sending you letters in the mail threatening you, CRA. Like, you know, all of a sudden your benefits don't work. All of a sudden, like, there's weird shit that happens. It's happened to me, and I was just like, really? Like, this is fucking crazy. This is coming from the government. Like, they target specific people. Like, you'd think that's something so big, like a government would, like, fucking, who cares about little Pee-wee over there? But, like, no, bro, like, they are fucking laser targeted when you step on their territory. And Victoria is their territory. This is the capital of British Columbia. This is where all of the money is, and the decisions are made that get, you know, distributed across the country. It's Ottawa and Victoria are the two heads of the beast, the snakes. They're the snake, or the beast, whatever. So what do you guys think about this? This is crazy. I don't buy it, bro. Something's up with this. This is a fucking trap, man. Because the BC government is not our fucking friend, bro. You think they give a fuck about corruption? No, they're the ones doing it all, and this is their front to fucking find all the loose ends from people that fucking go and snitch. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna find out all about it and all about them and feel them out, see if they're really genuine to what their cause apparently is, because no entity so far in this fucking province that I've encountered has been genuine to their cause at all in any way, shape, or form. Completely fucking opposite of what they claim to be. So I would only assume from my experience, and I would have to be a fool to assume otherwise, that this is just another front. And this is scary, because this is like fucking yo, bro, like this is like fucking with the mob shit. You know what I mean? They're like, yo, listen, like, we're smart as fuck. You think you're fucking smart enough to fuck with us? You're not. You know what I mean? That's the system, bro. That's the Illuminati shit. You know what I mean? They're fucking really like that. You know what I mean? And this has been going on for hundreds of years. They're the amount of power, knowledge, and fucking influence and wealth and everything behind this entire establishment. Like, we know what it is, right? But I never thought that I could actually follow the webs all the way up from simple nonprofits, organizations, and charities, all the way up to low-income housing, leading me right up to government, leading me right into this whole fucking world, right, of the charity data and the lawyer and the fucking, these fronts and things like that. Like, it goes so deep, man. And everything's connected, and everyone is connected. Everyone knows each other. It's spooky shit. It really is, It's like the fucking mob, man. But it's the government, really, This ain't new, though. This is historical. You can look, if you know anything about history, you could just look history up and see that this is how history has always repeated itself. And that's how it's always been. So, shouldn't be that surprised.